think it's fair to say that the MRT Purple Line could be the least used rail line by foreigners on the entire network. Why do I say this? Well, I've been riding the line for the last 4 days, and the number of foreigners that I've seen has barely got out of double figures. And it's easy to see why, because only 2 of the stations are actually in Bangkok. The other 14 are in Nonthaburi, and this line reaches the far corners of this province. A friend of mine rode the line and said it was really far out, but he wasn't talking about the distance. He just had a few joints before he got on the train, and he was totally blown away by the scenery. So the MRT Purple Line is getting a southern extension. It's currently under construction and due to open around 2029. And for those of you not interested in riding the current Purple Line to the far-flung corners of Nonthaburi, you might see some of these stations and think, well, that's more like it. These are places that I know. And it's getting a lot of people excited. Well, I'm excited anyway. I'm at Tun Station, the current terminus of the MRT Purple Line, and this is where the extension begins. Construction has started, and as you can see, Tun Station is very high up off the ground because they had to build it over the top of the Blue Line station. And then the first station on the extension, Parliament House, is underground, so they're going to be building a very steep slope going towards a ramp that will take the line underground. I've done a bit of a zoom on the camera, as you can see, and the columns have been built, and you can see them going towards this slope. Now, Parliament House is where the brand new government headquarters is going to be. And if you take a riverboat and go past it, you can't miss it because it's got a big gold tower at the top of it. Just before we get to the location of Parliament House Station, I wanted to jump off the bike here because down at the end of this road is where they're building the new bridge across the river. Can't remember what it's called, but I'll put a subtitle up on screen for you. I've seen the finished artist's impressions and it looks quite grand, and it's going to be right in front of the new Thai Parliament House. This is the side entrance to the new Parliament House. Looks like they've got a new security guard on duty here. Nice black and white uniform. Bit small though. So this is where Parliament House Station is going to be, and it's right in front of the new Thai Parliament building, which from what I can see is probably about a year away from being open and fully functional as the official government house. So this is the future location of Yacht Station, and it's particularly exciting for me because there's a lot of old buildings on this part of Samson Road, and in order to build subway exit number 4 of the new station, they had to get rid of one of the old buildings, but they didn't demolish it, they actually moved it, and it was captured on this video. National Library Station is, you've guessed it, right outside the National Library, which is closed today, and I'm not sure if that's because it's a Sunday or it's because it's closed completely during the whole construction process. And I saw in the news yesterday that the whole Purple Line extension project is now 51% complete. So they're building the tunnels 30 or maybe 40 metres below the canal, and they're actually fixing the road bridge over the canal at the same time, and so they're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. There are some pictures on a notice board by the foreman's office, and it shows you what the bridge is going to look like once all the work has been completed. So Bankan Prom station is going to be the nearest station to the Khao San Road area, about 400 metres. So if you're an old hippie, a wannabe backpacker, a young traveller, a stoner, an Instagrammer, a TikToker, then it will be very convenient for you to have a station right here. But then again, 400 metres is a long way to walk if you're stoned, so maybe not. A couple of the early Purple Line extension maps had this station named as Panphar Lila because after all it is next to Panphar Lila Bridge and intersection. At this location though, the orange line goes across the Purple Line and that's got a station nearby called Democracy Monument, so they thought it would be simpler just to name both stations Democracy Monument, even though the Purple Line is a bit of a walk from the monument itself. When they started construction on Phra Padaeng Road, there was the issue of the foundations of old buildings and some of the old buildings themselves. And one of the foremen on this site told me that the line at this point under the old town is actually 50 meters deep. So from here, I can't film on the back of a motorbike the route of the Purple Line like we've done so far, because Mahachai Road as far as Charoen Krung Road is one way and it's not in our favour, so I'm going to have to walk this part and there's nothing to see anyway. We're only in the most historic part of the city, so never mind. When you travel around the world, you've got to keep the most essential items with you at all times. And for me, one of those is water, another one is cat food, but the most important one is poker fight. It's a terrible feeling arriving in Bangkok suffering from jet lag, but there is something worse, and that is slow data speed. You can't even open Grab to organise a taxi. That's why I carry the Smart Go PokerFi Pocket Wi-Fi hotspot. Forget about eSIMs, tourist SIMs, data SIMs, handing over your passport in 7-Eleven. PokerFi works in 170 countries and comes with 5 gigabytes of global data. It can be used by up to 8 devices and is great for groups or families. The app is very simple, you get 16 hours of battery life and it's easy to top up. Click the link or the QR for a discount and say goodbye to slow data speeds. Well, this is definitely the biggest construction site we've seen so far on the Purple Line. This is Yacht Station, and they're building an interchange here with the MRT Blue Line. They're also building a crossover tunnel down there as well, so trains can reverse and go back the way they came, or terminate here if they have to. And they've also got to contend with a lot of foundations of old buildings, particularly the old Klong Prem prison buildings. And they have heritage status, so they have to tread carefully working around those. And one thing I noticed is that the old prison gate has actually been lifted off the ground, probably going to move it away while they do something underneath it. And the old prison wall was actually removed completely. It's been cut up and stored around the corner, and I suppose when the construction's almost complete they will reinstate it. So interesting that they've done that. So the Fine Arts Department have obviously got a close eye on the proceedings here at Yacht Station. Here at Yacht intersection, before construction started, they had a choice as to which building on which corner they would demolish to make way for the new station entrance. And I think it was a bit of a no-brainer really. They definitely demolished the right one. That concrete monstrosity was definitely a bit of an eyesore. It was an old hotel for many years and its best days were very long behind it. And the building they left on the other corner was definitely deserving of that. Nice unique design, dates back to the late 1960s. So this corner is where they're storing the sections of the old prison wall to be reinstated once construction is almost complete. And when they've built the station entrance, this is also going to be a green space, and they're going to build a replica of the old city gate that used to be here many years ago when there was a wall around Bangkok. It was called the Samut Gate. So that'll be interesting to see what that's going to look like. And it'll be a nice place to sit, I think, right in front of the canal. I think this station will get a name change before the line officially opens, and there's two reasons for that. One is historic, the other is quite obvious really, because to call it Memorial Bridge Station when the actual bridge is almost a kilometre away, that is pushing it a little bit. And there are three suggested alternative names they could use. One is Wongwian Yai, because that is the name of this intersection and the historic clock tower. Another is Somdet Chowpria, because that is the name of this road and the canal nearby. But the most likely one, I think, would be Pratchitipok, because this is Pratchitipok Road, and King Pratchitipok was, of course, King Rama VII, and he had Memorial Bridge built in 1932 to celebrate 150 years of the Chakri dynasty. And Memorial Bridge was, of course, the first bridge across the river. They called it the gateway to Thonburi. And when there's a lot of traffic, though, it is a bit of a slow gateway. Yesterday I said the construction site at Yacht Station was the biggest so far, but this one here at Wongwian Yai definitely beats that. The whole of Somdet Prachao Taksin Road from the intersection to Krung Thonburi Road is a complete construction site, and of course that doesn't help the traffic, and it's rush hour at the moment, so it is pretty hectic around here. And you can just about get access to Wongwian Yai railway station, which is almost hidden away there. And a couple of weeks ago I was reading in the news that when the SRT Dark Red Line train is extended through here, they will utilise the old Merry King's department store building as the station. And remember, I explored that old building in a video a couple of years ago. Well, every other person walking along the pavements around here seems to have a purple shirt and a hard hat on, and it's easy to see why, because this is definitely the biggest construction site on the Purple Line. It's the location of the last underground station. This is Somdet Phra Padaeng Hospital Station, and it's also where they have the access point for the TBMs, the tunnel boring machines. And if I'm not mistaken, that right there is a tunnel boring machine, and these are absolutely huge. You can see the mechanism there that they use to lower it and raise it. from here I'm going to walk as far as where the line comes up from underground and becomes elevated, and according to the map that's about 1.5 kilometers. Well, I tell you what, the air inside the underpass was absolutely choking. People talk about 2.5, that must have been 20.5 if that's possible. And I think the line would have come up a lot sooner had it not been for the underpass. And this is the first visible bit of construction on the Purple Line that we've seen so far in the video, I think. Anyway, the next station is Dao Khanong, and then it's another 6 stations before the end of the line. Well, I finally made it to the end of the line in one piece. All those motorbike rides, all the risks that I take just for YouTube. This is Khao San Station, number PP33, end of the line. And from here it continues a little bit further to the maintenance depot and stabling yards. And also we're outside Bangkok. We're in Samut Prakan province, quite a way out of the centre of town. These areas are still developing. And as construction of the line progresses, land prices go up, condos get built, shopping malls get built. That is how the city expands. And you never know, in 5 or 10 years' time, you might even see a condo around here that could interest you. So my final bike ride in this video takes me down one of the side sois. This is Suksawat Soi 47, and after winding around a few corners it ends up at a temple by the riverside called Wat Krung Road. Well, it's nice to breathe a bit of fresh air, get some peace and quiet here by the river at Wat Krung Road. And for the last 3 days I've been sitting on the back of bikes, holding up the camera with my right arm, which is absolutely killing me. I'm going to have cramp for a few days because of that. Breathing in pollution, sitting in heavy traffic, and of course going along at breakneck speed, risking my life, the things we do for YouTube. And now I know I never have to do that again. Until the next line, of course, the orange line most probably, but that's not as extensive. Anyway, from here you get a nice view across the river, and I must say the river is not actually very wide at this point. And then just behind me you've got Kanchana P-set bridge, and if you've got a zoom on your camera you can get a good shot in the other direction of the Pumiporn bridge.